This is going to be a two-part video. The first part is going to look at the planning documentation for the automobile cost, and the second part is going to look at the program itself, the code for the automobile cost. In the automobile cost, you are to create an application that let the user enter the monthly cost for the expenses incurred for operating an automobile. This included the loan payment, the insurance, the gas, the oil, the tires, and the maintenance. Then the program should display the monthly total and the annual total of these expenses. So I've got a pseudocode here, and you can see my pseudocode is pretty simple. I start the program, and then I get the necessary data, which is the loan payment, the insurance, the gas, the oil, the tire, and the maintenance. Because I need to display my monthly cost and my yearly cost, that's what I need to calculate. So I calculate my monthly cost by adding the loan plus the insurance plus the gas plus the oil plus the tire plus the maintenance. And then I calculate my yearly cost by multiplying that monthly cost times 12. And then finally I can display the monthly cost and the yearly cost and end my program. Now this is the way that I like to do my pseudocode. The book shows a different way of doing it by listing steps 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, etc. They do this on page 154. Either way will work, just whatever easier for you. I'll come back to this IPO chart in a minute. You could also create a flowchart, and here I show a flowchart. You have to have the proper symbols. Okay, an oval is for your stop and start. Parallelogram is for input and output. So here's my input, and then here's my output, my display. And a rectangle is used for processing data. If we're going to have any kind of decisions for an if statement or for a loop, like conditional test, is it less than, is the cost less than $50? Yes or no? That would be a diamond. But we're going to get into that, I think, next week. So we start our program, and then we get our input, and I've just got all my input listed here. Then I go calculate my monthly cost, my yearly cost. I display it, and I stop the program. You see in my flowchart, I have the arrows going in one direction. And I only have an arrow comes in and it goes out. I don't have like two arrows going out of one box. You only have that again if you have like a decision, a diamond, and you have one arrow for no and one arrow for yes. So this is your pseudocode, should look something like this. Your flowchart should look something like this. And there's an example of flowchart on the book on page 26, and I had an example of flowchart and pseudocode on the planning document that I had in the additional materials for this module. Now I've also got an IPO chart up here. IPO stands for input, processing, and output. This is a good way to help check your calculations and your logic. I've got my input listed here, my processing, my two calculations I've got listed, and my output. And then below that I have some test data for my input. I've used that test data in my processing to do my calculations, and then I show that test data, the results, in my output. Now I can take this data and use it in my program when I run my program and make sure my program works. So this is a good way of double checking my program. So this is the planning document. You only had to do either the flowchart or the pseudocode. So you have to do one of the two for each program that you do in this class. So this just gives you an example of both of them.